Hey guys, Frightener22 here, and welcome back to my February 26th DVD update. It's been just about a month since my last DVD update, so I'm going to show you guys all the DVDs and Blu-rays I've gotten within the last month. So let's go ahead and get right into this update. The first one I got was a Blu-ray. I actually got it at Walmart for $10, and it's the unrated director's cut of Cabin Fever. Now, originally when I saw this theatrically way back in 2002, I didn't really care much for it, but because of all the epic hype that was coming for Cabin Fever 2, Spring Fever, I really wanted to brush back up on this film to see if there was just something I missed, and maybe I just was a little too harsh on it at first viewing, but I got this on Blu-ray. I mean, it was $10. The price was totally right, and this is the first time that the film's ever been released in an unrated director's cut. But still, my initial feelings from the first viewing still hold true. So many years later, this film it's just not my cup of tea. I just really don't dig it. I don't, I can understand maybe why people like it, but I don't really know. I mean, I can appreciate and respect what Eli Roth has done for the horror community and, the millennium and stuff, but Cabin Fever just really isn't my cup of tea, and the Blu-ray treatment really isn't anything to really brag about. I mean, it's a decent transfer. I guess it's definitely going to be a step above whatever the DVD was, but I mean, the quality on this isn't anything groundbreaking as far as Blu-ray goes, but, whatever. Another Blu-ray in the collection. The next one I got was also at Walmart for $15, and then the main drive as to why I bought the original Cabin Fever, like I said, was just to brush up on it for Cabin Fever 2, Spring Fever, unrated. And surprisingly, this film was actually a lot of fun. I really, really liked this. As many of you guys may know, Ty West directed this, but he recently had a falling out with Lionsgate because I guess they kind of came in and reshot certain things and re-edited it, so he kind of disowned this film completely and didn't want anything to do with it. But this film is actually really cool. It really captures a really fun 80s horror movie type vibe. So yeah, compared to Cabin Fever 1, this is actually a step above it. So this is definitely a lot of fun. I know that's been getting a lot of good reviews from a lot of people in the horror community, but Frightener22 absolutely gives it a seal of approval. This was definitely a fun time. The next one I got, yet again, was at Walmart, and it was only $5, and surprisingly, I just never had it in the collection, and I always really, really dug this film. It's from 1996, and it's The Ghost in the Darkness, starring Michael Douglas and Val Kilmer. It's actually really cool. It's set in 1896 in East Africa, and there's a construction of a railroad taking place, and Val Kilmer's the architect, but there's these man-eating lions that have just been killing people on the job site, and it's surprisingly actually based on true events. This film is just highly underrated. I've always really, really dug this, and I never had this in the collection. It's actually directed by Stephen Hopkins, who horror fans might remember directed A Nightmare on Elm Street 5, The Dream Child. But if you guys haven't seen this, this is really, really a highly underrated gem. Absolutely check this one out. It's a fucking awesome time. Next one I got was also, I found it in the $5 bin at Walmart again. I just never see this film in stores, so I've never actually seen it, but I figured I may as well start collecting the sequels, although Part 2 is the only sequel not available on DVD, so I'm going to have to get that on bootleg eventually, but the one I got was Children of the Corn 3, Urban Harvest. Like I said, I've never actually seen this film, so I mean, I'm definitely not going to go about watching this until I can actually secure a bootleg copy of Children of the Corn 2, and it's just so surprising that's the only sequel not available out on DVD, but all the ones after that are, so I'm hoping that, within the recent track record from last year, I just hope that, with all the good horror DVDs that are coming out, I hope that some company actually eventually releases a legit version of Part 2, because I would like to see all of the sequels eventually, but, this was kind of unique to find in stores, so I'm happy that I found this one for $5. Next one I got was at Walmart for $10 again, and I've been hearing a lot of things about it, so I did a blind buy on it, and it's the unrated director's cut of Deadgirl. I just watched this tonight, and it was okay. It wasn't anything spectacular. It was definitely unique and maybe hard to stomach for certain people, but I found myself a little bored at times. It definitely wasn't anything spectacular, but definitely unique enough for me to check out, so I'm glad that I did, but I wouldn't really recommend it. The next two are Blu-rays, and Walmart's actually been really cool. They've been giving a lot of awesome sales for $10 Blu-rays, and the first one I got was a film that I don't think I really cared for it much when I was a kid, but, for $10, I figured I'd give it another try, and I did read that the Blu-ray treatment on this was pretty good, and it's The Phantom, starring Billy Zane. This seems pretty cool. I mean, I couldn't remember the cast until I looked in the back, but it's got Billy Zane, Treat Williams, Christy Swanson, and Catherine Zeta-Jones. And surprisingly, another thing I didn't know about this is that this was actually co-executive produced by Joe Dante, who's one of my favorite directors. So I figured for $10, I think it was definitely worth it to give it a second chance on Blu-ray. So I'm excited to check this one out and hopefully rediscover it in a better light. The next one was a Blu-ray for $10, and it was a blind buy, and my buddy Geologist from the Gut Munchers board was really, on my back about seeing this film, so I decided to bite the bullet and check it out. It's a Stephen King scripted film. It's The Running Man. Arnold Schwarzenegger. I know I'm sure a ton of people are really surprised that Frightener 22 hasn't seen this, but don't worry, I have it now on Blu-ray, and I'm really, really looking forward to checking this one out. So hopefully by this weekend I'll be able to see this and have some words to say about it. But I'm really happy to have this in the collection. $10 Blu-ray, you can't beat that. The next two I got at Target. This was a $5 film, and I had seen probably about roughly half of it, and I really dug what I saw, so I'm excited to actually sit down and watch the whole thing through, and it's Shaun of the Dead. Yeah, I just never got around to seeing this when the huge buzz was going on about this during its original release a few years back, but like I said, I had seen half of it, and I did dig it. I thought it was pretty funny and pretty cool, so I'm excited to eventually sit down and, watch the entire thing straight through, so definitely let you guys know how that one plays out. Again, at Walmart, I finally found this film, and I'm so excited to talk about this one, and that is the Ty West film, The House of the Devil. What you guys have heard about this, believe the hype. This movie is fucking awesome. I loved everything about it. Ty West did a spectacular job, really capturing that 1980s feel, but also that 1980s horror film feel. I mean, this film is just incredible. The actresses in it are just timeless. They don't have that, that millennium. The actors in this just don't have that look of teenagers today in films where you're just like, God, they just look like they're from the 2000s. I don't know how to explain it in detail, but the actresses and actors that Ty West garnered in this just are so timeless, and they really feel like they were, in the 1980s, and just got a really, all-star cast to boot, starring the likes of Tom Noonan and Dee Wallace, as well as Mary Warno from Rock and Roll High School. But this film is fantastic. I can't recommend seeing this film enough. I loved it a lot. I'm sure some people might not like its sometimes slow pace to it, but it's really, really great. So I would absolutely recommend this film to any horror fan. Absolutely check that one out. It's such a good movie. And the final two I also found at the $5 bin, but this time at Best Buy. So I was just kind of floating through there on Tuesday, just kind of browsing, and on my way out I found these two in the $5 bin, and for that price, who could pass it up? The first one was the Collector's Series edition of Jumanji. I always dug this movie. I saw this movie when it was released out in theaters back in 1995, and the director of this, Joe Johnston, just recently directed the 2010 remake of The Wolfman, and you guys can actually see my review of that in the At the Movies playlist. I really dug that, and he did a really good job on this movie. I mean, surprisingly, I just never had this in the collection, so, I mean, for $5, I couldn't pass it up, because I always really, really dug this movie. I imagine that this movie probably is going to be really cool on Blu-ray. I just feel like the sound and the picture is just going to really benefit from the Blu-ray treatment, so I'll be excited to see that, but $5 on DVD, I couldn't pass that up. And finally, the last one I got for $5 at Best Buy was Bachelor Party. Of course, I couldn't go throughout this entire DVD update with getting at least one more 80s movie in, so I'm really happy that they retained the original poster art on these. I just feel like you don't see that too much on the DVDs. They always try and give you some Photoshop bullshit deal, but there's nothing really amazing on this. There's like an original theatrical trailer and behind-the-scenes interviews, but this is always a really fun film. Tom Hanks, 1984, so it's definitely a good time. If you guys haven't seen this one out, definitely check this one out. It's a good laugh. Well, that concludes my February 26th DVD update. I appreciate all you guys tuning in, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. I'm closing in on close to 200 subscribers, and the support has been awesome. Thanks for all you guys for tuning in. And one special announcement, look next week for a special announcement regarding the second season of Frightener 22's Saturday Night Movie Drive-In. There's big stuff coming for that, so be on the lookout for that announcement next week. Thanks again for tuning in, guys. This is Frightener 22.